Hey, what's up everybody, Nexel here. Today we are playing Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, and it looks like today we got 7 new skills to thrill deals. Now, this is going to be kind of a short analysis on this because realistically, only 2 of these banners are worth pulling for, and you're pulling for the skill. You don't really care about the 5 medals that come with. Those are more or less a bonus for the skills themselves. So the only 2 skills that are really worth pulling here are for Defense Boost 4 and Attack Boost 4 Max Gauge 1. The only reason those 2 are worth pulling for is that everything else is kind of a toss-up because it's percentage based, it's luck based. So Attack Boost 5 I believe comes with like a 54% chance of proccing without any sort of skill perks. Attack Boost 4 Lux Plus I believe is also 54%. And then the plus status skills, I really don't use status skills a lot, especially because even in story mode, the objectives are to activate poison, and doing things like poison plus 2 might actually not work. So for the meta people that play the game, very competitively, you don't really use status skills for the most part. You might be using them if you're like meta level Coliseum and you're using those skills in order to just push for a little bit more for the rounds. So you're, activating poison, killing things a little bit extra with pretty much an extra hit. Paralysis allows you to stall, sleep allows you to stall in Coliseum. But outside of that, really people aren't using status skills nowadays except for things like Coliseum or for things like challenges where you can put the enemy to sleep. But more often than not, really what you're doing is you're pushing for damage. So that's why the Attack Boost Max skills are absolutely crucial in order to be competitive in this game. And Attack Boost 4 Max and SP Gauge 1, that's still a skill I would use to this day. There are a lot of good medals that cost a lot of gauges that can use this sort of skill. So we had the Aladdin and Magic Carpet High Score Challenge medal that just came out a few weeks ago. I believe it might actually have been a month ago, but that medal costs 7 gauges. And then you also have, what's another good example? HD Final Form Sora even costs 4 gauges. You can drop that down to 1. So there's a lot of good skills that could, a lot of good medals that could still use Attack Boost 4 Max and Gauge 1, whereas the other Attack Boost ones, the Attack Boost 4 Lux Plus and the Attack Boost 5, are kind of toss-ups. And when you're really pushing for damage, when you want consistency, you want to be able to hit for that extra attack, damage 100% of the time and not just some of the time. So that's why I only recommend pulling for the max skill when it comes to the attack boosts. For Defense Boost 4, that's just a good tech to have, especially since it is the defense boost that has the highest amount of proccing. It's the highest chance of going off when you need it, and it also, I believe, cuts your damage to 10% of what you'd originally be getting hit for. So Defense Boost 4, if you don't have it on something already that could be useful, I would definitely give it a look, really think it over, because Defense Boost isn't really where we're going with the meta, especially if you have the high tier medals such as Kyrie EX, Illustrated Xion EX. Odds are if you have those 2 medals, you're going for damage, you're pushing really hard. But Defense Boost 4, it comes in handy when you come into challenges where you can't just one turn everything, or you're trying to play the long run game. The objectives say complete without having to continue. You can use Defense Boost to just stay alive and go through that. It can be used for things like the Fill Cup, where you're limited in terms of your medals, so you can't use like tier 5s, tier 6s. And for new players, it's actually really good because if you're not at a point where, again, you can knock out all the enemies really quickly, Defense Boost 4 allows you to prolong your game without actually getting yourself knocked out. So back in the earlier days of the game, everyone had to use Defense Boost 2 because they would be getting knocked out by a lot of different things. So that rule still applies to new players. Having Defense Boost is just a good tech to have in order to prolong your game without having to spend jewels to continue, or in order to finish certain quests that are just too hard for you right now because you don't have the damage pushing medals. So that's really my analysis on the skills to thrill deals. It's only those 2 that are worth pulling. Everything else is just going to be 5 attack medals of 6-star rarity, and it pretty much can be anything. So it says tier 4 and higher medals also have a chance of appearing, but let's actually take a look at what our actual odds are, because that's really what matters, is what are your actual odds of pulling into something you actually care about. So, of course, everything is going to be 6 stars because it guaranteed it. But when we look at the tier 4s, it's going to be a 0.47% chance. When we look at tier 5s, it's 0.28% chance. And then when we're looking at tier 6s, yeah, 0.09% chance. So it's like, at that point, you know, you're really pulling for the skill. You're not really pulling for the 5 additional medals you're getting, just because your odds of getting something good are just not high enough. I wouldn't risk 1500 jewels just for that. You risk the 1500 jewels for the skill with the medals being extra. With that being said, you can only pull from these deals once per day, so you can get a max of 3 attack boost 4 maxes gauge 1s and a max of 3 defense boost 4s. One little disclaimer I do like to add here is that whenever they throw these skills to thrill deals at us, unless it's a new skill that's being added, odds are we're going to get a better version of that skill later on in an avatar board or something else. So for example, they're throwing defense boost 4 at us. It might mean in the next avatar board we're getting defense boost 5, or we might be getting attack boost 4 max gauge 0, or even attack boost 5 max gauge 0. So I'd really only recommend these to people that have a lot of medals that need skills, because usually these banners mean they're about to throw something good at us. They're about to throw like an avatar board or some sort of means of obtaining a skill that is better than what these are. So I think it's just a jewel trap in my opinion. Again, unless you really need the skills, I would pass on them for now, just because odds are we're getting something better. That's how it's always been. The only time I think that a lot of people have pulled from this deal is when the skill that came with it was attack boost 3 max lux plus. That was crazy because a lot of people needed those lux max skills. I still need a few actually in order to you know, really maximize my rating. So that's really my analysis on those. I wouldn't pull for anything that isn't the defense boost 4 banner or the attack boost 4 max SP gauge 1. Those are the only two that are worth pulling for in my opinion. Everything else you could definitely pass on and still make it through the game with relatively fair ease, especially with the top drawer deal and the newcomers deal that we have here. Speaking of which, we will be doing our 1 top drawer deal for the day pull here. I made a video yesterday. I'll upload that too. But if you guys couldn't tell, I am getting sick. I had 2 exams yesterday and they were just draining, and then I haven't gotten enough sleep yet. So with that being said, let's go ahead, wrap up this video with our top drawer deal and hope we can get, I want a nominee. I want one of the nominees because I want to be able to guilt one of them because they're so good. I'd love to have a forward blue upright copy medal. So let's see what we can pull off in our top drawer daily deal. I'm going to look for this one. My luck has been pretty bad recently, so it's like I feel like nothing I could do at the moment is going to alter what happens to me right now. So let's see. We got 1, 2, and we're going to get nothing. Okay. So we've got the Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Kairi and the Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Sora, which is kind of cool that they came as kind of like a pair here. So let's go ahead and grab our magic mirror, and then we will trait these 2 medals here. So that was kind of a bad draw, but I mean, for 1,000 jewels to get a tier 6, and potentially the chance at Illustrated Kairi EX or Illustrated Xion EX, I definitely think it's worth it. Those are just, it's so good. For 1,000 jewels, like, at this point, the game's really going to have to step up what its banners are in order to make people, you know, like, save jewels. Like, if it's just going to be these 15 Mercy falling price deals, like, that's still 30,000 jewels. That's 30 pulls from the top drawer deal, which, as you saw, if you, I don't know if you were watching the videos, in 11 pulls I got the Illustrated Xion EX. So it's like, take it as you will. I definitely think that the banners need to go up. They need to have better incentives in order to make people pull. So let's go ahead and roll our Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Kairi. This is going to be a roll for guilt as well as a roll for trait. I believe I have extra attack and sleep resist on this, so we'll see if we can get the poison. 94%, that's pretty bad. Considering the bonus campaign is between 100 and 150, 94 is pretty bad, but as a buffer, like, it's alright, it's fine. Oh, so we actually have extra attack and ground on this one, and we're gonna get paralysis resist. I'm gonna say no to that because I talked about it a little bit last time. If you have ground minus 60 and then extra attack, you know, you're hitting for that extra damage twice, which is I think it's better than paralysis resist, because I feel like more often than not the one you want to avoid is getting poisoned, because that's the one that kills you after you get revived by second chance. So I'm okay with keeping the ground there. Let's go ahead and guilt the Sora. Let's see. I think it's actually already guilted. I think we're actually just rolling for trait this time around. So where are you, Sora? Here's our Sora. It is at 169% guilt, which is crazy, and it has one good trait, mediocre trait, and then poison resist. So let's see what we can do. Is there a skill on this one yet? There is no skill on this one, so maybe I think it's only a 20% chance at that poison. Yeah, we have a 20% chance at poison. Let's see if we could pull off a 20% skill transfer. Let's see here. All right, so let's hope we can save actually a few magic mirrors here, boost this thing a little bit higher than 169, a little bit closer to that 180. So we are going to get, ooh, wow, okay. All right, there is 11 magic mirrors saved right there, so that's pretty sweet. And for our trait, we are gonna get defense plus 2000. Not good. So let's go ahead. We're actually going to skip the defense plus 2000 because it's one of the most useless, if not the most useless trait you could possibly get on a medal. So that's that. We didn't get the poison transfer. That's fine. 20% chance, you know. We did get the max guilt, which saves us 11 magic mirrors, so that's super sweet. But with that being said, that is my analysis on the skills to thrill banners, as well as my daily top drawer deal. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to throw them in the comments below, and I will try my best to answer. But as always, everyone, until next time, take it easy.